Hi, guys. Welcome to Alabama. This is the end of June, but we're just going to call this our July garden tour. This is the row of dogwoods up near the road that we put in over the winter. And all of these, well, let's just say most of these are doing really well. We've interplanted some salvias that we grew from seed in kind of little groupings of 4 or 5 plants. Those have all flowered really nicely. And then, oh gosh, guys, the first weed of the garden tour, big weed of the garden tour. Let me pull that. Hold on. Oh gosh, it's a tough one. Those usually come out pretty easy, but that one needed some real pulling. But we'll get that out and we'll just throw that off to the side and we'll start over. Don't mind seeing that in the background there. Those salvias, I planted these in groupings of 4 or 5 plants. And we're going to put something else in here eventually, and eventually the flower bed will go all the way over to the side of the yard where the field is there, but we're many moons away from doing that. Just so Rod doesn't have to mow that part would be nice. Here's another view of one of those dogwoods, and this grouping of salvia is really taken off. And then here's our one problem child. We did replace it with the ones we bought at the same time to kind of back up, and the replacements didn't come up. And then I've just replaced it again. So we'll see if that comes up. And if not, we'll just have to move one of these down and add a new one next year. But that one's doing good. That was the smallest one. It's doing quite well. This is another planter I haven't shown much of. We added some hostas and some hydrangeas last year. The hostas are doing good. You can see that one's put on a flower. 3 of the 4 hostas came back up, but the one right below these canna lilies kind of got shaded out and it's nowhere to be seen. The hydrangeas, nowhere to be seen too, so not sure what's going on there. And our 2 other hostas that we put in. Everything else was here when we moved in, and I really don't have any changes to this planter in mind. I like it just like it is. Maybe we'll pressure wash that wall around it though, that short little planter wall. These are some elephant ears that we put in, and 4 of the 6 have come up. They were very slow to come up this year. We didn't think they were going to come back up, but here they are. Then we're going to move to the flower bed planters at the front of the house, and we have had to do a lot in this planter. The only thing that was here were the 2 boxwoods and a bunch of weeds. No mulch, a bunch of landscape fabric that we tore out this spring. And so slowly but surely we're adding some perennials, and some of them are um, that's dahlias back there to the back, Shasta daisies, some cornflowers, some cosmos. So far, that's about it. We protected our peony with a cute little cage. I'll show you how to make those once I figure out how to make them stay. They've been kind of falling apart on me, so it's a work in progress. These poor neglected, I always forget to water these containers. I've just had to pull out the nasturtiums that were in there, some more Shasta daisies, peony right before the boxwood, and liriope or monkey grass at the front there. We've also thrown in some zinnia seeds and I don't know, just some other annual seeds in here, and we'll just see what comes up. Anything that comes up is a bonus. We try to just go through here every week or 2 and keep the weeds down. I really don't water this much. It may be evident, I don't know. And here's a look at the north side planter. I think it looks nice. It looks way better than it looked when we moved in. And then this is some clematis that I just added this year. These are a little more delicate than I really would like, but the container size was right, and therefore the price was right on those. But they do have a really cute little purple flower that you can see here. So very happy with those. We just need to keep them trellised up and keep the dog from tearing those apart. They're so delicate that if she gets in there, it's bad news. Here's a look at the driveway planter, just some junipers, some daylilies, and all we do is keep it cut back and weeded. And then over here past the fire pit is our row of privets that we put in. This will eventually be a big tall privet hedge to protect us from overspray from the farm next door. And most of these privets are doing quite well. I did throw in a couple marigold seeds or some kind of seeds down here at the end. Not even sure if anything's going to come up because, as you can see, more weeds. I don't really keep it weeded. But here's that row of privets. And this is, I believe, 47 plants of the 50 that they sent us, actually 51. And most of those are doing quite well. I've got one that I think we got hit with the string trimmer that I'll show you the little stub that's left. And all I'm going to do is take one from the end where we just are walking from and pluck that down in the middle here. And then because this is much longer than we anticipated, if we have other plants that kind of kick the bucket, we'll be able to, keep this privet hedge pretty long and thick over the coming years. So that is our stacked fence. That was a project we did not too long ago. And here's our lilac. We planted right when we first moved in. It's been set back twice with overspray from the farm next door, which is the whole purpose of this eventual privet hedge. Here's our well-stocked firewood pile. As you can see, we get lots of down trees. Plus there's Rod's pile of grass clippings and the weeds from behind the fence that we just pulled here this last week. And then over to our tire planter. This one has some kind of sage in it. I'm not sure what variety this is. And then just some standard mint that I have for mojitos. And these were in the yard too when we moved in, lilac to the front and a rose of Sharon blooming to the back. And then here is our newly expanded gardening space. We're looking on the south end of the garden, and up first is our row of potatoes and lettuce and cabbage. Now the potatoes we've harvested already. Those were to the right. The cabbages, we only got one cabbage again this year. It was delicious and perfect. The other one I'd kind of left as a sacrificial plant. And our lettuces will be coming out in the next week or so. Those are getting ready to bolt. This is blueberries, and oh my gosh, guys, we planted 2 or 3 extra blueberry plants, and those have not really giving us a whole lot of blueberries, but these existing blueberry bushes are fantastic. We did put a net over them while we were gone on vacation because they were going to be ripening, and that net saved our harvest basically. Next up is our corn patch, and we do have some green beans planted on the end of it. Some of these are black beans, some of these are kidney beans, and this year I'm just picking them all as fresh beans, and then I'm going to put, I think, most of them up in the freezer. Our corn patch, I've done one picking out of this kind of pathetic looking patch, but you know what? I got 30 ears of corn, so that's 5 2-cup freezer bags full. So quite happy with that, but I am going to take these down and I'll replant those coming up. This is some more of our green beans in the back. And this is the blueberry that I was talking about. This is the only one of the new plants that put on fruit this year. We'll walk back through the corn crop here with a look kind of over the whole plot. That's 4 rows, and we had about 6 plants per row come up. Now, watermelon. Oh my goodness, guys, these have just gone gangbusters. I'm not sure if this is the sugar baby or the crimson variety, but we have probably a dozen watermelons that are going to be of good size growing this year. Last year, we only got one that was grown to ripeness, and then the rest kind of rotted on the vine. So they apparently are liking our wet spring that we've had. We're keeping these all on this trellis system, or we're keeping little blocks of wood that I can set them on. Here's my rattlesnake green beans trellised on the back fence line. I'm trying these because I have trouble seeing the green beans up against the green leaves of the plant. And these have a color to them, kind of a purpley color that goes away when you cook them. And I find them easier to find and pick. We're going to go back down the other side of the melon patch here, and I'll show you some more big melons that we've got going. Like I said, a dozen at least, and probably a bunch of small ones that I just have not been able to put eyes on yet because the vines are so prolific. Yeah, look at that. It's just heartwarming. I love it. And here's my zucchini, no squash bugs yet, with my first succession of carrots down below. Those are kind of stubby carrots, no more than 2 inches long, but they're delicious, and I will hope to do better next year. And then I've got 2 cucumber plants growing. Next year, I only want 1 cucumber because I just have an overabundance. And then we've got green beans or kidney beans or something down below. I'm just picking them as fresh beans. And here's my another big success story this year, peppers. Oh my gosh, it's an abundance of green peppers, and there's my Anaheim peppers to go with it. I've already put up tons to go into the freezer. And our final raised bed in our vegetable garden is tomatoes. This is the crimson variety, and I've got about 4 plants, 5 plants of that. This is a big red. It's a little bit of a more solid round tomato, but most of those are spoiling. They're not liking the wet conditions we've had so far this spring. Then a Trip L, which seems very prolific, but they've got lots of not completely round tomatoes, but big, pound plus tomatoes coming off the vine. And these, obviously, my Romas, and those are doing well. I need to cut back some of the leaves in there, though, get some more airflow. I look back on the zucchini. No squash bugs yet, fingers crossed, although I have smushed several eggs. And then planted along the border is some onions. And I think I misstated the status of the onions on the previous video. I was thinking they were fist size, but they're not. They're smaller than fist size, but still thrilled to death to have them. My first time growing onions, other than green onions. There's our little orange cherry tomatoes. I think they're called sun sugars, and those are delicious. And then we'll just give you a view of this other side of the tomato bed. Again, these are Trip L variety from M.I. Gardner. Then we've got some big reds, and these are the ones that are kind of spoiling on the vine. And then last up is the crimson variety. So lots of tomatoes on. Let's hope we get those all ripened and into canning jars. More importantly, BLTs. Now we'll take a walk alongside the fence. This is our east property line. to our fruit orchard. But first, let me show you my mother of pearl rose, which does not like all this moisture. I've had to treat it for fungus again, and the blooms are basically rotting as soon as they open. So here is our peach tree, and we're going to show you the varieties because I don't have them memorized yet. That's a Red Haven semi-dwarf peach. Then my little marigold. This is I believe, a Royal Gala dwarf apple. And these were cut down to 18 inches to Espalier. There's one of my fails on my cute little cage. And the last one is a Fuji. And this is a semi-dwarf too. That corner plant is an elderberry. And then we've got our grapes, and this has been a big problem. We're having these just decimated by Japanese beetles. We've still got fruit on there. I'm not sure if they'll ripen, but we're hoping. This is our first time growing grapes, I should say. We've got some strawberries that we put in down at the bottom, and then interspersed with some raspberries. And I'm picking about every other day, and we're getting, say, a half a cup to a cup off of our 4 plants. And I am sharing with the birds. So now the Japanese beetles have moved off of the grape and onto our raspberries. So, but there's plenty of raspberries, so I'm just not freaking out. I'm just picking them off when I see them, and otherwise just letting them do their business. Some more of our strawberries, and one of my cute little cages that hasn't fallen apart yet, and our last of the Suffolk grapes, where you can see again that damage from Japanese beetles. Cross fingers, we'll get some juice though. Here's our rain barrels with our little fence behind it that we did on a video. My lettuce table, which is all of my cut and come lettuce, is gone. Here's some, I think these are Elysium that I mean to get planted. This is another project we're going to be working on. That's coming up. And then this is maybe my favorite thing I've done this spring. And that is our old herb garden that we had our kitchen herbs in. My favorite little wind chime here. And this is primarily our lemon and lime, but I did grow some ginger and some turmeric. I've got some green onions going there. And I put some flowers in these other pots that may or may not come up. This is an improved mired lemon, and there is a ton of fruit on this thing. We'll see if that matures. They're looking pretty good. But unfortunately, the lime, we had lots of leaf drop because of a freeze. And so this plant, the leaf coverage has come back and looks really good. But that one little lime there is black. So that's not going to give us any fruit. And that's the only one that I can see thus far. But we'll see what happens. It's beautiful. I love citrus trees. I love the green of the leaves, and hope we can add another one soon. We put those on little roller carts so we can winterize them when we need to. And that's a wrap for July, beginning of July garden tour. I hope your garden space, whatever it is, whether you're acreage or just sitting on a balcony somewhere in the city, I hope your gardens are beautiful and are giving you as much enjoyment as I'm getting from ours. This is a view from our carport where we sit and enjoy the whole backyard, but look at that garden. Doesn't that look great?